Bob, what is public relations, and what is it that PR people actually do?
PR is about telling your story to all the people who need to hear that story so that those people will do and think what you want them to do or think.
Are public relations and advertising pretty much the same thing, Bob?
Both are part of the marketing mix, but with advertising you have control of the time, control of the space. You know when the ad's going to come out or when it's going to appear in the newspaper. But people treat it with a degree of skepticism because they know it's paid for advertising. With PR, we call it earned media coverage or editorial media coverage. And that means through our interaction with stakeholders, getting into the news part of a media outlet. That's the difference, and it's more credible because people trust the independence of a journalistic source.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are the most important things for a public relations professional to know?
I think the most important thing to know is to think about ahead of time what it is that you want people to do in consequence of your communications activity. The idea isn't just to blunder into a PR program and just start talking. The idea, I think, is to consider thoughtfully, what is the business objective that my company is trying to achieve here? And how can we craft the communications campaign so that we can reach people and then share information with them, have a conversation, co-create the brand experience, and then together create a rising commercial tide in consequence of the PR activity.
Mm-hmm. What is it about public relations that attracted you to the business?
I was active in politics for many years. You know, we had a party leader, we had party policies, there'd be a slate of candidates at election time, and we'd find out who'd win on voting day. But in the private sector, well, we have a CEO. We don't have party policies, but we have a corporate vision or mission. We don't have candidates, but we have products. And every day is election day in the private sector. And so that contest, that ability to go out there and share ideas with people and close the sale and attract the commercial momentum behind a product, that's what really attracted me.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's changed in the world of PR since you got started, and what's remained the same?
I can answer in one word: speed. Back when I started off in the analog era of public relations in the late 1980s, what constituted urgent? Maybe tomorrow or maybe today. We had fax machines, we had couriers, typewriters even in the office. It's like another era. Now, of course, urgent is real time. It's right now. We've got to do it immediately. And it's real-time communication. Nobody has an attention span anymore. And so we have to change the way that we share communications, have a conversation, and not send people giant chunks of content that they will never consume because they don't have time anymore. They're in too much of a hurry.
Mm-hmm. Your first PR agency job was with Hill Knowlton. They were the gold standard of PR in those days and are still very widely respected.
They were the place to be in those days, no question. What a wonderful diaspora of talent Hill Knowlton produced throughout the entire PR agency. I think in recent years, globally, Edelman really has been on the rise. And I think Edelman and the firms like it are the result of a new kind of commercial momentum behind the quality end of the PR consulting spectrum. PR is no longer about simple events and publicity. It's strategic business building advice optimized for the C-suite. Companies like Edelman get it, or in Canada, my old firm Environics, they understand that. That's where the money's going for tomorrow.
Now, you built your communications career first in Canada, then the United States, followed by Korea, and most recently Japan.
Yes.
Is PR the same in these countries, or are there a lot of really distinct cultural ways of doing corporate communications?
Each culture has its own imperatives, its own distinctiveness. Communications in America, for example, is more direct, more in your face. In Japan, it's more subtle, more humble and modest. I would say, though, that in terms of taking the complexity of a company's story and then simplifying it and then repeating through multiple communications channels over a sustained period of time, these narratives to customers and stakeholders in a highly customized way, that is the same.
Mm-hmm. Bob, you led the establishment of the first Canadian-owned PR firm in the United States market. That was quite an achievement.
Thank you.
Tell me about your experience doing that with Environics.
What we discovered with Environics is that if we created a PR firm in the United States market, we could provide a quality of service, thinking, writing, ideation, campaign development that would be second to none. Pound for pound, Canadian PR practitioners have a world-class capability, I think. And in creating a PR firm in the United States market, what we discovered is that Americans, like anybody else, they want to build their business by this smart application of high-powered breakthrough PR. And we were able to deliver it. So I think the nationality of the firm actually was irrelevant. It was the people working at that firm and that team we could build together.
Bob, are there any Canadian PR firms in Asia?
There aren't, but there's this huge global network of Canadians working in PR. I've heard that at any given time there are anywhere from between 1 to 3 million Canadians living overseas. And they really do collectively punch above the weight of this country, and they are wonderful ambassadors for Canada in the information marketplace of PR.
Now, when you moved to Seoul and took the helm at Edelman Korea, the company was actually thinking of closing down that office at the time, but you achieved a turnaround. You won major awards. How'd you do all that?
By attracting this really exciting combination of talent, of people who really wanted to be the best they could be through continuous improvement and setting what everybody would see as a new high-level PR standard. I think, again, as I mentioned earlier, there is a tremendous appetite in the commercial marketplace among multinational corporations for big brain PR, not just following instructions, not just organizing events or getting something in the newspaper, but C-suite leadership advisory advice. And in Korea and in Japan and all these other countries where I've had the fortune to serve, I think that remains the case. People want that now, intelligent communications.
Several times over the years, Edelman tried to enter the world's second largest economy, Japan, but they weren't terribly successful until you got there. What is it you did differently when you moved to Tokyo in 2005 that resulted in the successful market entry that Edelman had sought for so many years?
We succeeded in Japan, and the team built a very successful company in a very short period of time, 18 months into the black, by being completely different than the other PR firms. In Japan, the societal feeling is to try to be the same as others, to blend in. Well, we decided to differentiate, to deliberately be radically different than the others. And everyone said, that's not going to work, that's going to fail. There was all this naysaying, but it succeeded. And we built a United Nations of PR talent, this A-team of people from all across the PR agency world. They came and they responded to this clarion call to build a quality consultancy in Japan. And I'm really proud of what we did there.
Rightfully so. Is public relations in America more advanced than it is in Asia?
It's certainly more financed. I mean, you have all the tools in your hands. I would hesitate to say more advanced, though. Money makes things possible, but if you look at social media, where it's not so much how big the budget is, but it's how smart you are, it's very nimble, it's very agile, a form of communication. I think the Asians there are really coming up with some of the more exciting breakthrough campaigns today. So everyone follows the Americans because there are so many things going on, but in other parts of the world as well, there's really exciting news out there.
You know, Bob, there are still some people who think that the purpose of public relations is to stretch the truth. How do you respond to something like that?
PR people are the world's most powerful information workers. And that's a responsibility. And it gives us a public trust that we really have to live up to. Most PR people, they take a tremendous pride in telling and selling a story straight. Saying that the glass is half full. Well, maybe the media is going to say that it's half empty, but not pretending that it's all full. That I think is an important distinction. PR is not propaganda. Propaganda is deliberately with malice tricking people into doing stuff that may or may not be in their interest. I think PR people are agents of pluralism. We educate the public. We share information so they can make wise decisions themselves.